Can Miami be one of the best three-point shooting teams in the NBA? We break down how the Heat could boost their offense this season from behind the arc on today's episode of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Locked On NBA Daily and Real GM Radio, here with Dave Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. And we have a great show for you today. We'll continue our 25 series. We'll look at an all-time Heat legend in a second. First, David, I'm preparing my notes for a deeper dive to the Heat's offense. And it's for a different show that we're planning on doing, for a different episode. And I came across this stat that I wanted to share because I haven't seen Miami's offense framed quite this way anywhere else. The Heat ranked 13th in three-point attempts last year. Not terrible, not elite. The starters averaged 24 three-point attempts per 100 possessions combined last season. Not terrible, not elite. Right in the middle of the pack. We talk a lot about ways that Miami can improve on offense. And I think one way that they could do it is take more threes. You think about the ways this team was good with Jimmy Butler, scoring out of the post, getting to the free throw line, elite ISO efficiency. That's not this roster. And I'm looking at this roster, a new look Heat roster, and I'm asking myself, what can this team be good at? Like, what can this roster itself? I don't know if it's going to be elite at any one thing, but if it was going to be elite at any one thing, what's the thing? And I went back to three-point shooting, but let me know what you think. Like, I think every offense to be at a high level, you have to do something at an elite level. And as we talked about ad nauseum, it seems like the last few years here, it just felt like Miami didn't do anything on offense at an elite level. Am I right to be maybe steering things towards three-point shooting, or should I maybe be looking in a different direction?
No, I think we discussed this possibility before, but you look at Tyler Hero, Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware, and that's what we project to be the starting lineup this year. And those are all capable three-point shooters. I think Ware of the five is probably the worst, and yet he does have that ability as a 7-footer. So you've got the potential for a 5-out offense. And I think that's what we were expecting Eric Spoelstra to implement. And that at the beginning of last season, then he wound up scraping that all together. You know, we saw him experiment with the idea. Didn't really work, mostly because you had Jimmy Butler on the team and he was kind of in and out of the lineup early on and a little disgruntled. And so not to put anything necessarily on Jimmy or whatever he did last season, but that's not the strength of his game. He's talked about it before. He's not just a three-point shooter. He wants to be able to attack, go downhill, bully his way to the paint. That's where he feels more comfortable. This is a completely different offense. It's not to say that anybody in that starting lineup can't find other ways of scoring, but as far as the three-point shooting is concerned, it's all something that they have in their offensive repertoire. And so now I think for the first time, maybe since the Big Three era, you have the capacity for everybody to be able to stretch the floor and provide different opportunities to get wide open looks from the three-point range and then be able to attack the paint because of the defense being off kilter or thrown off to a certain degree, where you have more opportunities for backdoor cuts, somebody going along the baseline, etc., somebody attacking from the paint or from the wing area. There's so many different things you can do with the offense because you have to have legitimate concerns about everybody being able to shoot the three-point shot.
I think that's right. And there's a lot of ways to get into the three-point shooting. You mentioned, all right, getting downhill, attacking the basket. I think Norm Powell can help with that a lot. Jimmy Butler, for as few threes as he took, generated a lot of threes because he was able to put pressure on the paint and draw double teams. And you look at this roster, like, well, who's really drawing that kind of attention? Who's putting that sort of downhill pressure on the basket? And I think the Heat would tell you everybody is supposed to do that. I also say that's probably not going to work. That doesn't typically work in the NBA. You kind of need one single advantage creator in the NBA. And again, we're going to do a deeper dive, like a full episode on how Miami can reshape the offense. But we talked about Andrew Wiggins working out of the post a couple episodes ago. I think
Yes.
Bam certainly can do a better job of getting to the rim. I think somebody like Norm Powell, who is much more a north-south guy than maybe anybody else on the roster right now who they just acquired, can also provide a lot of that. Playing in transition, that can also help. Again, we'll do a deeper dive. But I'm looking at the team right now in terms of how many threes they're going to take. Because you look at the quality, like these guys can make shots. We know that. Even Bam was making threes out of the corner in the second half of last season. I know Tyler Hero and Norm Powell and Andrew Wiggins can make shots when they get them. Can they get them? Can they take them? And can they take them at a high degree? Because I'm almost at the point where I'm just going to say, you know what? I know that they're hardest working, gnarliest, like all this stuff, like every possession matters and we value it. And we're going to drain the shot clock out and we're going to work and we're going to work and we're going to work until we get a good possession. I'm at the point where I'm like, screw it. The math works. Go full James Harden Rockets, go full college basketball and put up these 3-pointers. And I have a good sign, not to bear the lead here, David, but I have a really good sign that could be what's in store. I pulled up the numbers for the starting lineup. 3-point shots generated per 100 possessions. Okay. So I told you last year they took 24 3-point attempts per game, or no, per 100 possessions from the starting lineup last year. That's not enough. Not according to our let's do the math thing. Tyler Hero averaged 12.3 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. And I'm using the per 100 possessions for people who don't really like the advance. That's just to normalize things, okay? Everybody plays a different amount of minutes. I'm trying to normalize it across the board. So all the comparative numbers, too, are averaged out for across 100 possessions. So they're not going to actually take 12 3-point attempts per game. It's going to be across 100 possessions. That's how we're normalizing things. But it's still a qualitative way to look at this stuff. Tyler Hero averaged 12.3 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. Norm Powell with the Clippers last year, 10.8 per 100 possessions. Andrew Wiggins with Miami. I'm just pulling the Miami numbers from him. 9.1 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. Bam Adebayo, surprisingly, 4.1 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. And Kel'el Ware, 3.9. That's our projected starting lineup. Now, if you think that Nikola Jovic is going to start over Kel'el Ware, perhaps, even better. Nikola Jovic, 9.1 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. But let's stick with the Bam Ware lineup for now. That is an average of 40.2 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. And David, if you think that sounds like a lot, you would be right, because that would have been number one in the league with a bullet last year. Boston led the league. Boston, just spamming the 3-point line, not doing anything other than just chucking threes, led the league at 36.3 3-point attempts per 100 possessions last year from their starting lineup. And that would be Miami's. If everything holds, which obviously it doesn't, this is not an exact science, and I'm not sitting here claiming that Miami is going to lead the league in 3-point shooting attempts. But the point being is that this team is capable of it, capable of putting it up at a high volume, and that the players that we project to be in the starting lineup not only are capable of it, have done it as recently as last season. If Eric Spoelstra goes to each guy in that projected starting lineup, like, I want you to shoot more threes, Tyler Hero could say, I already shoot a lot of threes. Hey, Norm Powell, I want you to shoot a lot of threes. Cool. I was doing that in LA. I already shoot a lot of threes. Hey, Wiggins, I want you to shoot a lot of threes. Awesome. That's all I was doing in Golden State, and it's all I was doing really in Miami when I got here. Hey, Bam, I want you to shoot more threes. Cool. I was doing it towards the end of last year. Hey, Kel'el Ware, I want you to take more threes. Awesome. I would love to be doing that. Like, this team takes a lot of threes. And it's kind of the thing nobody is talking about. Post Jimmy Butler, they have weirdly constructed a roster that for years with Jimmy wasn't getting up a ton of threes. They did it a lot. They were ahead of the curve the first couple of years, the dribble handoff game and Duncan Robinson and all that, and Tyler Hero and all that stuff. And then it got away from them. And then they were below the curve, or behind the curve. Now I think we're maybe going back to the other way of this, where this is a roster that could thrive in terms of volume 3-point shot taking.
I want to believe. I see the numbers. I recognize it. I love the Rockets comparison. I was thinking that in my head too. And there's something holding back though. And that's, can Eric Spoelstra buy in? Does he see that vision? And does he want that to be the case for his offense? Because as much as I think he leaned into what Jimmy dictating the offense because he was slowing down pace, because he was a little bit more deliberate in his attack of the paint. Does Eric Spoelstra say, you know what? No, this is my team, my vision, and what I want is a faster paced team, a team that just puts up 3-point shot after 3-point shot. And I don't know, because Spo has been so versatile in terms of just completely different offenses that fit whatever personnel he has in there. Is that the vision for this team? Is that the one that Eric Spoelstra is going to teach in training camp in terms of we've got these 3-point shooters across the board here, not just in the starting lineup, but as you pointed out, Niko Jovic, a guy who can be capable. Fontecchio, we haven't even talked about him, arguably maybe the best 3-point shooter on the roster, and he maybe he gets playtime, maybe he doesn't. So
off the bench, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Does Eric Spoelstra lean into that and say, this is going to be our new offense moving forward, a team that just puts up shots and then finds ways of also scoring in different ways generated off of those 3-point looks?
Maybe. I mean, they have these numbers too. I know that they've seen these numbers. I think to your point, Eric Spoelstra has always done a good job being like, Spo doesn't want to play this specific way. He usually tailors his offensive scheme around his personnel. And if any team and any coaching staff needs to scrap the system that they've had the last couple of years and install a brand new one, it's this Miami Heat team, not only because the offense stunk the last couple of years, but because the main driver of that offense is no longer on the roster.
Right. And I was just going to make that point. If you look at this roster and you know that Tyler Hero is the de facto point guard and growing as a playmaker, he's still not your typical point guard who's going to be setting up offense, nor is he the engine for this team, really. So what's the best way of mitigating that role? If you don't have that player, you don't need that player by just generating 3-point looks. You've got 5 guys that can attack in different ways. You talked about the low post offense stemming from Wiggins, Bam, Kel'el Ware. All those guys are capable passers out of the painted area. And that's how you look at it in that sense, that you're going to be generating offense from the 3-point line without the need of a traditional point guard. It's one way of kind of changing the roles to fit what your personnel are and leaning into that version of what skills they do have so you can create the offense that you need in order to thrive in the NBA. So I'm looking forward to seeing it if it works out that way. And you hope that Eric Spoelstra is listening to this podcast.
One way to create space when you're not an elite athlete, you're not going to create space like with Tyler Hero. You're not going to create space getting downhill, driving to the basket, is to create space from outside, from the logo, from just shooting from 30 feet out. Like that is another way to create space. And we know that Tyler Hero, and by the way, Norm Powell, these guys are capable of that. So a deeper dive into Miami's offense is coming up in a future episode, but we're going to pause it there for now. We'll put a pin in this conversation. 25 of 25 is next.
Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. If you're looking to save up for a big purchase or maybe something down the road that you think is, let's say college expenses or something along those lines, maybe the purchase of a new home, Monarch Money will help identify the ways that you're spending money and help you achieve your goals faster and smarter. If there's a way of saving some money here and there that can help you achieve your goal, Monarch Money is the tool to help you reach that more quickly. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNBA. We'll be right back.
Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. This is our 25 of 25 series, looking back at the top 25 Heat players of the last 25 seasons. Each episode, we'll be taking an in-depth look at every player who made the list as voted on by us and our Locked On Heat Insider community through the lens of what made them a definitive part of the franchise's history. Checking in at number 9, the one and only Goran Dragic. And not to be outdone, now at number 8, Heat culture himself, the OG himself, a man with a podcast and many different roles. It is Udonis Haslem. Udonis Haslem's tenure with the Miami Heat is one of the most remarkable examples of loyalty and longevity in NBA history. Born and raised in Miami, Haslem went undrafted in 2002 after playing collegiately at the University of Florida. He began his professional career overseas, but in 2003, he signed with his hometown Miami Heat as an undrafted free agent, the same summer that they drafted one Dwayne Wade. What started as an underdog opportunity turned into a 20-year career, making him the longest tenured player in franchise history. Haslem quickly established himself as a gritty, undersized power forward known for his toughness, rebounding, and defensive presence. In 2006, he played a pivotal role in helping the Heat capture their first NBA championship, scoring 17 points in the decisive Game 6 of the NBA Finals against the Mavericks. He went on to be part of all three of Miami's titles, serving as a steady presence alongside stars like Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh during the Heat's famed Big Three era that produced back-to-back championships in 2012 and 2013. Though his playing time diminished in those later years, Haslem's importance to the franchise only grew. He became the ultimate culture setter, embodying the quote-unquote Heat culture of discipline, accountability, and hard work that Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have built. Known as the team's emotional leader and enforcer, Haslem mentored countless younger players and was often described as the heartbeat of the locker room. Despite multiple opportunities to leave for more money elsewhere, Haslem consistently took pay cuts to remain in Miami. His retirement in 2023 cemented his legacy. In 2023, cemented his legacy as not only a three-time champion and the franchise's all-time leading rebounder, but also the definition of loyalty, sacrifice, and leadership within a single franchise. David, the highest he was ranked on our panel was 4. The lowest he was ranked was 18. I had him at 7. You had him at 5. What stands out to you about Haslem? Why did you rank him 5th?
I just don't know that you can write the story of the Miami Heat without Udonis Haslem being all over it. The fact that he's joined the team in 2003 and has been part of every championship era. We talked last time during Goran Dragic about how he was the kind of connecting thread through different eras of basketball. Nobody's connected in more eras than Udonis Haslem, because he was here for 20 seasons. He was,
here for all the eras.
He was here for everything. Like, aside from the fact that he didn't get to play with Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning in the late 90s,
right?
He was there. And that's basically it. Other than that, it was there from the rebuilding era. The first year of Stan Van Gundy as head coach. Like, he's had 3 head coaches. There have only been 3 head coaches for this team since Pat Riley took over in 95. He's played for all 3 of them. And that's just Udonis Haslem. Like, he's just been there for everything. He's just seen it all. But all about Udonis, not just, and to me, when I think of Udonis and I close my eyes and imagine him playing, it's still early Udonis. It's cornrowed Udonis. It's him, mouthpiece dangling out of the corner of his mouth, being angry, having hops, playing aggressively, undersized, and as gritty as they get. And that's what I remember. Everybody who kind of joined in the fan bandwagon after the Big Three formation kind of pictures him as the older veteran where he wasn't playing much of a role. He was coming off the bench. No. Go back. Look at what Udonis did early on in his career. He earned that starting job alongside Dwayne Wade. He earned it against playing alongside Shaquille O'Neal. He was as important a part of that championship as any other. And he's been a heck of a player for this franchise. And to do that as an undrafted player, it's unbelievable. His story is one of one. And the respect that he has garnered throughout the league.
Yes.
Like, it's unbelievable. Like, that Heat fans would deem to insult his role or minimize the impact he's had is bordering on sacrilegious, because he is spoken of in hollow tones around the NBA. There are 450 guys, 449 if you look at it that way, and they all love Udonis Haslem. And nothing I think symbolizes that more than in the Orlando bubble when all the teams were playing and deciding what to do. Udonis spoke and everybody listened. And that's the kind of power he has. He has that presence, not just as a tough guy, not just as an enforcer, as you mentioned, but as a voice of reason, as a voice of respectability, as a veteran presence, as a leader, not just in that team, around the city. There are so many stories that you could tell about Udonis Haslem, and they're all valid.
Rumors for years that he was going to run for office.
Absolutely.
For years. And they're not gone.
And he'd
He would win in a landslide.
I love the story about Dwayne Wade early on in his career, getting his, I think, some jewelry stolen.
Yep.
and he told UD, and UD said, "I got you, bro." And next thing you know, within hours,
Within
he
24
had the
hours.
jewelry returned.
Yep. It's amazing.
What a story!
It's
That
amazing.
he's that connected. It's like, you know what? I know the criminal element throughout this city to the point where, you know what? I make a few phone calls.
He was
and
like
I'll
a
find out
detective walking into a crime scene and be like, "I know who did this. They put
I
the
got you, bro. Don't worry
washcloth in the
about it.
sink. I know exactly who did this." Like, this is their
What a
calling card.
story. Like, and there he is, like a millionaire basketball player competing for a championship.
Yep.
And it's all right. You know what? I know everybody in this city, and he does. He knows like business owners. He is just such a part of the city. He literally has Florida on his back, and there's a tattoo of the state of Florida there. Like, you can't be any more 305 than UT is.
He's the best. He's absolutely the best.
Yes.
He for people who did dismiss him as having a roster spot late in his career, I just knew that you were a younger Heat fan. And not to, I don't even like mean to dismiss you, like whatever. Maybe you had a point that a 40-year-old shouldn't be, whatever. But if you grew up with Haslem,
I don't care.
You never questioned it. You're like, yep, that guy could stay until he's 60. I don't give a bleep. That guy could stay as long as he wants.
Right.
There's so much more that we could talk about Udonis Haslem. We got to take a break here. We got trivia on the other side. We got our biggest what if moment. And I got more waxing poetic about Haslem at the other side of this break.
Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade because 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot pack the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients, all with zero sugar and zero crashes. What I love most is how portable they are because you get big taste in a tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. You know, sometimes throughout the day, you just get a little winded, you lose steam, especially if you wake up early like I do and you just need something to keep you going. Down here in South Florida, we all know about cafecito being the juice that keeps us going. But you know what? You can mix in a little 5 Hour Energy and you'll appreciate just the kind of boost you get without the sugar and crash that you get later on when that cafecito eventually wears off. So enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store or online at www.5hourenergy.com or via Amazon today. We'll be right back.
So you mentioned when you close your eyes and you think about Udonis Haslem, what I think about is I think about cornrows, and I think about that baseline jumper, that 15-foot patented baseline jumper. And I remember as a kid practicing that in my driveway. More accurately, my cousin's driveway. He had the basketball hoop. And over, I said, yeah, I probably can't be Dwayne Wade, but I think I could probably hit this jumper about as much as Udonis Haslem, was my thought as a kid growing up in Coral Springs. So that's where I was. But I also want to talk a little bit about because your point about his reputation around the league is so great, and it can't be overstated. I always said this about UD. He had the ultimate street cred among basketball players. And yeah, it was probably because he could find your stolen jewelry within a few hours of it happening. But it was also because of his story. He had the most credibility of any NBA player, you could argue, ever. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. If you were undrafted and wanted to make a team, Udonis Haslem could talk to you about how to do it. LeBron couldn't talk to you about how to do that. He was the number one pick. That guy was going to have a career for 10 years no matter what happened. Haslem said, if you played overseas and you wanted to make it overseas and you wanted to make it to the NBA, UD could talk to you about that. If you needed to lose a bunch of weight and get in shape and get in prime shape, elite shape, UD could talk to you about that. I've been there. I did that. I went undrafted because I was fat. Then I got into the best shape of my life. Now I'm a starter and I'm a champion. He won a championship in his third season. Yeah. You want to talk about championships and how to win them? He could talk to you about that. Udonis Haslem was able to tell LeBron about how to win a championship when LeBron came in 2010 as an undrafted guy who had to play overseas for a year. Nobody ever had more credit. He could talk to every kind of player, no matter the path. You were poor growing up, I could talk to you about that. Like, he could talk to you about anything. Yeah. with the most amount of credibility. And that's huge. And that's why he was on the roster for as long as he was on the roster. Are you ready for trivia?
Yeah, I just want to add,
Please.
Hassan Whiteside, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, all of them with multi-year $1 million contracts. None of them get that without UD. Like UD's presence and his ability to coach them up and tell them, you do what you're asked to do here, you're going to get paid. And do you know, and people kind of dismiss that, but do you know how important that is to build a team that has to shore up its roster with these undrafted players, and that they've all found a way to thrive? Like Hassan, obviously not an undrafted player, but a guy who was virtually out of the league, and he sacrifices and builds his career, gets $100 million contract because of a guy like Udonis mentoring him and telling him, you put in the work, you're gonna get paid. And that means so much because he's just been such an impactful, influential guy within the course of that locker room. It's unbelievable.
It's time for trivia. I have 3 questions for you, David.
All right, man.
Udonis Haslem went undrafted in 2002. He had to prove himself overseas before joining the Miami Heat. Which European country did he play in before signing with Miami?
France, baby.
All right, very good. What fast food franchise does he own multiple locations of in South? I feel like I made these too easy.
A couple of them. But I know the one he's most known for is Subway sandwiches.
Ding, ding, ding. All right. This one I think is challenging. We'll see if you get this one.
Okay. All right.
Haslem's number 40 was recently retired by the Miami Heat. Which 2 people does he credit as inspiration for choosing that number?
Oh, that is a good one. I was there, and I should have remembered this from his speech, but oh, what an interesting 40, huh?
I'm not sure he mentioned it in the speech, but he has talked about it on the record.
Okay.
He might have talked about it in a speech. I don't remember.
Gosh, Shaky Rodriguez, his high school coach? No, I guess not. All right. Man, no. Somebody within the Heat organization?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you points for that. You have to be a little bit more specific. But yes, it is somebody affiliated with the Miami Heat is one of these people.
Right. Pat Riley?
It's not Pat Riley.
Okay,
all right.
I give up.
It was his father's number in high school.
Okay.
And former Heat player Tim James.
Wow.
Quote, I played AAU with James even before that. Tim is a Miami legend, bro. He was the original Mr. Miami. He played for Miami Northwestern, played at the UM as well.
Yep.
He had the opportunity to stay home and play in his hometown. He was the first to do it, so I'm always paying tribute to him. End quote.
Should have remembered that. He has called that Tim before. I remember. I remember Tim playing Northwestern. He was a all-state basketball player. I think he might have been Mr. Florida as far as best player in the state. And then playing at University of Miami. What a great story. James Jones too, being another one of those guys that took that same route, playing at American High and then going on to UM and coming back to play for Miami Heat. Yeah, that's interesting. I know that he had an incredible impact on UD, but I'm old enough, and I hate to date myself. I remember reading about the scandal associated with Udonis when he was playing at Miami High, that they had like this incredible team of guys that were put together.
Yeah.
None of them necessarily lived in the area where Miami High was, the Miami High Stinger is, alongside other NBA player Steve Blake. You remember Steve Blake?
Of course. How could I forget Steve Blake?
Well, okay. Yeah. So him, UD. I don't even think UD was the best player on that team.
Steve Blake played at UCLA, right? He ended up going to UCLA.
I don't remember. I want to say Maryland, actually, but I think he might have been a Terp, but I don't know that for certain. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. Maryland.
Okay. So yeah,
good times.
He's been part of basketball forever. So.
And you mentioned his high school coach. What was his name again?
Shaky Rodriguez.
That was not his real first name, though. What was his real first name? It was.
I don't know.
I talked to him on the
phone. He had
a
nickname
Shaky. I did talk to him on the phone.
Shaky. Why would you go by?
He went on the coach South Carolina.
No, that's Frank Martin.
Oh, that's the other guy. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Frank Martin. Yeah.
All right. So let's get to some of our recurring segments. We're gonna hold the what if moment here for a second. Jersey worthy, obviously, yes. Do you have a favorite Udonis Haslem jersey? I think it's got to be the all black one. I think for him, not the all black one, just like the standard black one.
Yeah, I could see it. Orange piping or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The Jones Battier Zoe test. So Udonis Haslem in his prime, no doubt, for sure. Are you kidding? Yes. Defensive backbone off the bench. You need a backup center? UD. He would be a center in today's NBA for the record. Like, he wouldn't be playing power forward nearly as much. Even as undersized as he was, like, I think that would have been fine.
He'd have to work in a 3-point shot, though. Like, it would be a tough call. Like,
for 10 minutes a game? Nah. Play good defense, rebound.
He would make the team better, I think, but I'm like a slightly taller Haywood Highsmith without the 3-point shot. I don't know. It would be a tough call. I'm not sure it's as easy as you make it sound. Like, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because it's not like he wasn't just playing like 3 years ago, but he evolved also, and he became a guy who was willing to shoot the three. But even in his prime,
if you ask him, he's always been able to shoot the three. He just wasn't allowed to. So maybe in today's NBA, he would have shot the three. He shot for his career 12% from three. So it's not like he exactly has a ton. But he was always a good free throw shooter, or above average free throw shooter. So
yeah, no doubt.
His best year, he averaged 12 points, 9 rebounds. I would take 12 points, 9 rebounds off the bench.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, sure.
Versus pin this player against the player who came before him and ask if we got it right. Haslem over Goran Dragic. You and I both had him over Goran Dragic. No shade to Goran, but it's UD. Come on.
Yeah. Just because he's longer career, he's meant more for the team.
This is our sliding doors moment. It's a what if moment that could have changed the way that this player is remembered for better or for worse, or could have changed the trajectory of his career. I don't think that there's a way that we remember Haslem better, right? Like, this was, you play out Udonis Haslem's career 100 times, this is the best version of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a better version of Haslem's career than the one we got. So, unfortunately, you kind of got to go the other way of that. Like, what if it didn't work out that way? There's to me, a lot of exit ramps that he just drove right by. You know what I mean? And gets a lot of credit for that decision for driving by those exit ramps. The one that stands out to me, and maybe you disagree with me, but the one that stands out to me more than anything, what if he signs with Dallas in 2010?
I thought it was Denver. I thought it was Denver that was offering him the most money. But yeah, I thought it was Denver, but you're absolutely right. It's exactly what I was thinking. It was if he chooses not to, like Dwayne, LeBron, and let's say LeBron refuses to take less money, despite Dwayne saying, "No, we need UD on this team, bro." And
so it was the Mavericks. I'm sorry, it was the Mavericks and the Nuggets. They both offered him something around $30+ million over 5 years, which was it was roughly $14 million more than what Miami gave him.
It's a different vibe, right? Like, thank you for the 7 good seasons you gave us, etc.
We won a championship. No hard feelings, right?
Right. Yeah. You got to go get your money. We totally get it. Sucks to see you go. But you miss so much after that. You miss Tyler Hansbrough getting clobbered. You miss his going nose to nose with David West and challenging everybody the way he did. Like, all the different moments.
Stepping up when Bosh got hurt in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Absolutely. Those things are necessary. Like, that's all part of UD's story. Challenging Jimmy Butler on the sideline. I don't know. It would just be a completely different team. Like, I don't know that as much as you might want to dismiss what he did on the court, and maybe you have an argument, I still think that this team would be completely different had he left in 2010. So he would have been part of the championship, but I don't think he'd be as highly revered. So that's a great call.
And if he joins Dallas instead of Denver.
Oh, that's an insult. And what if he had won a championship there
with the Mavericks beating the Heat? And it would have been the ultimate. You chose style over substance. That would have been. You had UD, OG of the ground, salt of the earth, and you let him walk for the pomp and circumstance of LeBron, the Heatles. You wanted to win the press conference. You got LeBron, you got D-Wade, you got Chris Bosh, but you gave up your soul to do it. And then your soul came back and beat you in the NBA Finals. It's interesting for 100 million reasons, but specific to UD, he becomes like this crazy polarizing figure for Heat fans where segments of Heat fans hate him because he beat us. He left and he beat us. Segment of Heat fans are just jealous because they wish that he was still playing for us, and they're pissed at Miami. They're pissed at the Heat organization for letting him walk. Like there's so many different iterations of that.
My heart hurt just hearing thinking about the possibility.
Make it
like
stop.
it's so funny. I almost pictured like the introductory press conference and Dirk talking about that he knows full well in his German accent that he knows full well how Udonis could be a pivotal player because he saw him in 2006. He did such a good talk, and he would talk him up so well. And like,
oh yeah, Haslem guarded him in the 2006 finals.
Absolutely. And then UD saying, you know what, now instead of guarding him, now I get to just guard him in practice. And just the camaraderie.
Most respect for him. Shut up. Make it stop. Yeah. Make it stop.
I don't like this timeline. I want to go back.
Let's go back to the current real timeline where Haslem played 20 years in Miami. Let us know in the YouTube comments your favorite Udonis Haslem memory moment, what he means to you as a Heat fan. I think maybe more than anybody that will do this for, what Haslem means to you is maybe the biggest reason why he's on a list like this, right? Like everybody else has the production, the bona fides, the resume. Haslem obviously has those things, but just not to the level of some of these legit Hall of Famers who we'll be talking about later on as we complete this list. But let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day.